But I was aware that it would probably take 700 videos for me to see any progress.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Prime Potty. Today, I have a very special guest on the potty. I've got Caden Mcdonald, commonly known as Cados. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, Tommy. Thanks for having me on the pod. Beautiful surrounds we are in this office building.
Great
ambience as well. Great cameras, great crew. I'm pumped to be here, mate.
Mate, so it's actually the first time that we're in this new studio, and I'm very excited for the future of this potty, and I think you've had me on your potty a few times, which was a whole heap of fun last year, and now I just feel like I'm returning the favour.
Oh, it's great. I love reciprocal mutual feelings of podcasting enjoyment, so I'm pumped to be here. I really appreciate you having me on. The supplements look great. I might need to get a lot of those into me.
I've said you some.
Yeah, I'm pumped to be here, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Caden Mcdonald, for those that don't know you, could you please explain to them, in your own words, who you are, what you do, and why you do it?
My name is Caden Mcdonald, born and bred from the Geelong region. And what am I? That's a good question. I'm trying to figure that out. But to be honest, I just like entertaining people in any way possible. And at the moment, I'm doing that through mainly long-form-ish YouTube content. I like to get out of TikTok or a reel every now and again, but at the moment it's mainly your longer form YouTube content. I guess I'm a YouTube content creator, and I sort of wrestled with that for a long time. You get out of school and you start making YouTube videos, but in your head you're like, I'm not a YouTuber. I don't want to be called a YouTuber, but I'm really at peace with that at the moment. I've been loving making content, especially the last 6 months. Really fallen back in love with it, and I feel like I'm making some of the best stuff editing wise, and I feel like I've got my finger on the pulse with what sort of content my audience likes, and we got some good momentum at the moment, so I've sort of found peace with what I'm doing, and I'm really enjoying it.
Your most recent video, the AFL 23, I believe, was the most recent one. Am I correct?
Was, yes.
We actually went to that event together.
Amazing.
It was a fantastic event. How excited are you for the new AFL video game?
So I did see a lot of people, because I sort of do keep my fingers on the pulse with the whole AFL YouTubing community, and there's a lot of up and coming young fellas making some great content. So I did watch a lot of their content, and they were asking you about it, and it was quite evident that you're not the biggest gamer, but your answers were awesome. Very, very quick-witted, and I think you spoke really well. I'm on the opposite end. I'm an absolute nuffy for this game. For how much people play FIFA, I play AFL video games, and it could look like bloody Roblox or Minecraft, graphics-wise, but I will still love it. If I can run around as Jack Viney for 12-minute quarters and just absolutely dominate, I'm going to do it. So I'm super excited for the new game. We got to play a demoed version up on the stage. It was a little bit clunky, but I think the gaming types call it a build. I think the build was 5 months old. But the graphics, the menus, I think they've got Ultimate Team. It looks so exciting. So, it'll keep my channel relevant for the next 6 months once it drops.
Speaking of channel relevance, it's one of the most difficult things for me as well in the AFL kind of scene. It's very seasonal. You've got the in-season and you've got the off-season. How do you find that you can keep your content relevant during that off-season?
Yeah, you go into hibernation if you're me. I eat as much as I can throughout the winter, and then I just hide away over the summer, just try and make it through to that sort of end of Feb time. To be honest, I'll take it back a little while. In 2017 and 2018, I despised being known as the AFL guy. I'd just done radio school. I wanted to be Hamish and Andy. I felt like I had more to give than just being the footy guy, and I also felt like a bit of an imposter. I didn't like making footy content when I'd given up after under 18 twos. So here I am, the footy guy, and I'm like, how am I the footy guy? You would know more than me. You can kick the ball better than me. So I did feel like a bit of an imposter, but over that time, I would really try hard to fight against the summer decline. But now I'm just at peace with it. I think I can sort of live a pretty medium to small wage life by making my money over winter and trying to tick it over summer, but it doesn't stress me out as much as what it did in the past. but yeah, like I've sort of accepted, like my biggest passion is AFL. I love footy. I love the D's more than I love some of my family members. And yeah, to be honest, like, yeah, the summer months can be a bit boring and a bit hard, but now I sort of recalibrate, recharge, and I start planning a lot over summer. So people might not see as much content, but I'm on the emails, I'm on the phone calls, I'm the guy off Wolf of Wall Street over the summer months, just setting myself up for a big year. So, last summer went like that because I was quite busy. But yeah, obviously, I feel like, surely I can get a couple more videos out. Like, don't abandon the channels, Mcdonald, you hack. But you've done well over summer. What I love is how you play footy all year, so the footy season never ends.
Very fortunate with that. I'm very fortunate that I can go up to the NT and play footy. But even then, my game day vlogs and my YouTube videos don't do as well as what they do during the winter seasons. Like, I've already seen a massive shift in my view count from NT footy to kind of Wangaratta footy.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate that I can do that. But like for someone like yourself, as you said, you kind of were known as the footy guy.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to find other kind of niches once you've already been pigeonholed into that niche.
Well, and what's funny is my dad would say, "Oh, you're doing well with footy. Do rugby. Like, do some rugby as well. Like, do soccer." And I'm like, "Dad, I would, but I don't like. I would be the biggest hack talking about rugby league or soccer or tennis or I don't know those sports. I actually don't like. I love the Melbourne Football Club, so in turn I love AFL, but I don't love any other team in the world. So there's no like emotional pull for me to be passionate about it. So it really is footy or nothing, and I am aware that there's a ceiling on the amount of subscribers and the amount of views you can get, but it doesn't mean you can't make a bit of a fist of it. And there's heaps of people in Australia that have made a living off AFL, from comedians to commentators. So even though it is sort of like an 8, 9, 10 month sport, or maybe even less, 6 months potentially, you can make a bit of a living. And I'm super passionate about it, so I wouldn't want to be going into other sports that I know nothing about just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Let's take a step back. Where did your content creation kind of journey all begin?
Well, to be honest, I've been filming myself kick the footy, play footy, backyard cricket since I was like 14 or 15. Like, I've got clips of me and my mates. We'd go on the trampoline and take backyard hangers, and I'd do like a backyard hangers compilation to Wolf Mother's Joker and the Thief, and
best song ever. I absolutely love that tune.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. So yeah, we would just be little prepubescent fellas just trying to take screamers on each other. And what's funny is, like, I've made content in the last 3 or 4 years doing similar stuff. Like, I took a big specky bag down to Bounce, the trampoline place, and we took hangers, and that's a video on my YouTube channel. So it's quite funny that what we were doing at 12 and 13, I'm still doing now. But yeah, I was just always passionate about filming, but I never traditionally got taught how to film. Like, I keep my Canon 80D on automatic settings. I keep everything just on automatic, and I just wing it every time. But it probably got, like, after school, got a rancid ATAR, got a 29.75. I was gobsmacked.
What is this?
I was gobsmacked. I went to all the exams. I did my homework, but I wasn't there. I wasn't really in it. But I still sort of rocked up. So I kept showing up. David Goggins, just show up. I did just show up, but there was probably no point. Like, I got this awful ATAR, and my dad thought the world was imploding. And I went, I don't think this will matter. So I started doing community radio because I wanted to be Hamish and Andy. I did a radio course at RTI FM, which is now closed down, but it was a radio school, and I didn't know a radio school existed. Once I found that out, I was like, this is the coolest place ever. Like, a radio school, like a school for radio. Like, it just blew my mind. It sounds like Hogwarts. It sounds like you go to this mythical school where
for something, maybe.
Yeah, where there's people like practicing their on-air work and people in sales. So I just wanted to be Hamish Andy. I did the radio course, and I thought after a 6-month radio course, you just get put into the Fox Drive or the Fox Breakfast. And why would anyone sign a 20-year-old who's never done radio before onto that? So it was a bit of a wake-up call. I did regional, like I tried to do regional radio for a little bit, couldn't get a gig. And I was having a sook to my radio lecturer, and I just said, "Oh, mate, I can't get a gig anywhere. I'm applying for Ballarat FM, K-Rock Geelong, in the middle of Dubbo, in the middle of Tassie. I just want a gig and no one's picking me up. And I was like really dejected and sort of like, woe is me, the world's against me. And my lecturer just gave me the biggest clip across the head and he goes, listen, like, it's 2016. There's no reason you can't have a podcast. There's no reason you can't have a YouTube channel. You're sort of sitting on your ass feeling sorry for yourself for no reason. And that just like spurred me on. So that in 2016, I fired up the YouTube channel, started making footy content, a couple of AFL parodies. And from there, it slowly picked up. Like some of my parodies got put onto Instagram and I remember getting tagged in them and seeing that on Instagram, they had 3,000 or 4,000 views on this AFL dedication Instagram page. And only like a couple hundred views on my channel, but I didn't care. I was like, people are seeing it. And then since 2016, I've just been doing footy content since.
Do you feel like you were pigeonholed from the beginning? Do you feel like you pigeonholed yourself as just a football creator?
No, that's a great question. So I think the world was crying out for, and not the world, this really tiny... This really tiny niche portion of Melbourne was crying out for AFL content. So I would make really random skits that, if we look back now, like they're horrendously shot. I only had a webcam, so like I'd film different scenes. I'd carry my laptop and a webcam around, weirdly edited. And there was still like a nugget of humor in there. Like I feel like if you could watch without all the cringiness, you'd be like, there's something there. But it wasn't until I made my first AFL parody song, where like things started to take off, and then I'd make other weird skits for a couple of months, and then I'd make another parody song, and that took off. So it was almost like there was a hunger and a thirst for that content, and it was almost like people pigeonholed me, like people sort of grabbed me and went, we need a sort of AFL YouTuber, like we want to see this. So once I knew that there was like a bit of an audience for it, like AFL's my biggest passion. Like it wasn't very hard for me to lean into it. As I said, for a couple of years, I didn't want to be the parody guy. So I sort of did a parody once or twice a year. And then I started making goal kicking challenges. And I'm like, I don't want to be the goal kicking challenge guy. So I started to make AFL Evolution video game content. I didn't want to be a gamer. So I started a podcast, but I didn't want to be the podcast guy. And I think me sort of being aware that you can't just get pigeonholed into one thing is what made my channel so diverse and probably what helped bring the audience along. But yeah, I personally feel like there was a hunger for footy content from these young kids who watch like heaps of YouTube. They just didn't have someone specifically talking about the footy on the weekend.
How long do you reckon it took you at the beginning to really start to snowball, get those subscribers up? And if it was slow, did that deter you from continuing to post videos?
No, it never deterred me because I've always had the long game approach. Like I've come from very humble beginnings, from Geelong, single parents. Would see both my mum and my dad, but I'd go to some of my mates' houses in Torquay and they've got the in-ground pool and 5 rooms and
the Foxtel.
and the Foxtel.
I had Foxtel growing up. It absolutely killed me. I'd go to my friends for this and they'd have Foxtel. Yeah. I am so jealous of you guys.
The most amazing thing when you'd go to a mate's place with Foxtel is they had Simpsons in the morning. So I'd have to wait till like 6:30 to watch The Simpsons before Neighbours came on.
Fox 8, yeah, here's the ticket.
But you wake up and it's like a Simpsons marathon. I'm like, what the hell? So yeah, like I did come from very sort of humble beginnings, but I was aware that like with the state of my camera, with the state of my audio, with the state of my editing, it would probably take 700 videos for me to see any progress. But I think if I told my 20-year-old self, here's the deal, you're going to make 750 videos. I think I've made more because I've privated like over 100. So if I made a deal with myself, you got to make 850 videos for 77,000 subscribers, I would have taken that. I would have been like, absolutely. I've got, I'm sitting around at this community radio station. I've got nothing to do. I'd love to make 850 videos for that amount of subscribers. So, yeah, like I knew it would be a bit of a long sort of journey, but it didn't deter me because, yeah, I've got nothing else going. So it's like, I'd rather make, yeah. I also had like a bit of a growth mindset, which I didn't know at the time, but yeah, I knew that the second video would be better than the first and the 50th video would be better than the 20th. So I'd put out, say, video 27, and I saw the editing was bad and the audio didn't work, but I just put it out for the sake of video 28 will be better. So I think not waiting around for perfection is probably what got me to this point where I'm really proud of my product. But if I had waited for like the perfect video 15, it never would have come. I never would have uploaded, and I wouldn't be here today. So I was really conscious of the fact that I could improve every video that I put out. And I think you see that a lot with TikTokers. Sorry,
That's all right.
I'm dying over here. I think you see that a lot with like TikTok at the moment. It's like there sort of isn't the perfect TikTok. TikTok is just like a 20-second clip that you can give enjoyment to people coming home on the school bus. They've had a rough day and they flick through and they see some content, and you can improve on your TikTok the next day. So that's why I really like what TikTok is. It's like it's not perfect. It's embracing your imperfections per video, but you're also improving on each video. So that's what I really enjoy about that.
That's a brilliant thing to say about TikTok, and it's so true. Like, it's more based around just getting the content out there, and I think that one of the most important things about TikTok is consistency and posting 3-4 times a day, getting people to just watch your content, getting eyes on your content. Don't be, again, like you said, don't be deterred by the views. It doesn't matter. What would be your probably 3 pieces of advice for people that are going out and starting their first YouTube channel today?
So I've had this bit of advice for ages is there's an audience for everyone. Once again, people would say 6 years ago, you can't make footy content, there's no audience. But I think there's 1 billion people on YouTube a day, probably. That's an estimated number. But
there could be.
There could be. I've seen like weirder, wackier channels, whether it be like, Joanne's Knitting from, Germany, and she's got 100,000 subscribers, or whether it's John's Gardening and all he does is mow lawns and he's got 50,000 subscribers. Like, there's genuinely like an audience for anyone and everyone, and you will find your niche. So my first bit of advice is there's an audience for everyone. My second bit of advice is what you touched on, is consistency is everything. I think that helps improve your videos over time. And then my third bit of advice is like embrace the imperfection. And it's a bit of a Craig McRae football Collingwood motto. And I think the Tigers probably used it through 2017 and 2019 and whatnot, but it is embracing imperfection. Like, I made a video 4 or 5 months ago. Paddy Cripps was in it and the audio was absolutely rooted, and like you couldn't hear any of the banter, and someone else might have just gone, the video doesn't work. But I said, nah, fuck it. I'm going to commentate over the top. I'm going, like, I just want to get the video out. And I'm aware that, it's a big moment to have Paddy Cripps on the channel, and I've sort of fluffed it. But also I'm going to embrace the imperfection. I'm going to try and make the best of this video and get it out. And I think getting out that video is better than me just shying away and not putting it out. And yeah, I think embracing the imperfection of your videos is massive, because then you don't fear the perfection. And if you were scared that you couldn't make the perfect video, I'd never upload. So yeah.
It's always a process, isn't it? And like you said before, I think you said like your 10th video is not going to be the same. Your 50th is obviously going to be better
100%.
Than what your 10th is. So like, don't be deterred by the views or any of that sort of stuff. I think that's massive. Talk to me about your creative process, how you come up with video ideas. You've been doing it for 7 years now.
Yep.
You'd think you'd run out of bloody ideas.
Yeah, well, I have. So I do the same videos over and over. So
that works, doesn't it? Because like, if a video does do well, do it again.
Yeah, there's so many examples where like the Sidemen have done like a billion crossbar challenges, but you still get around them and still love them. To be honest, I would say that I create in the way that I consume, and it's very much like what I see from overseas on YouTube. I just love tailoring it to like Australian banter and AFL culture. So like, I've seen KSI do like his career modes, and I've done like AFL Evolution career modes. I saw overseas in the UK, Will and he DM'd 100 celebrities, and I DM'd 100 AFL footballers. So like, there's so much that I just sort of pinch from around the country, but I make it my own. And I think you shouldn't be afraid of that. And I think that's also another cool thing about TikTok, is like how much there is sharing in like people's ideas, as long as like, you do go on TikTok and someone's absolutely ripped off someone's content word for word, and it's like, that's a bit odd.
You can't be doing that.
But you can take a trend and make it your own, which is really exciting. And I think that's probably what I built my channel off, is just like pinching ideas off Theo Baker, KSI, and all those guys. My process is like, I get an idea, I sort of whack it down. And sometimes like a good idea doesn't get used for 2 or 3 years. Like I had an idea in my notes for like 4 years, and it was like stupid robbers or something. It was like this skit idea where this robber comes in and sees you on, he grabs your TV, and you're like, I don't need my TV, like I watch footy on my laptop. And then he goes, so he puts the TV down, grabs the laptop, and you're like, well, I don't need my laptop because I just like send messages by my phone. So he puts the laptop down, grabs the phone, and then you're like, well, I don't need my phone because I can just use this handheld, like this sort of like old phone. And he ends up taking like the stupidest thing that he should have stolen. So I had that idea in my my notes for like years and years, for like 3 or 4 years. And then when TikTok first came out in 2019, me and my mate just made it, and it got like 800,000 views. And it was like, it's crazy that like a good idea is a good idea. And you, like, if I had to force that into a YouTube video 4 years ago because I had to get rid of this idea, I might have just spent it, but not really used it properly. So I'm very patient with my ideas. I think, yeah, they'll get their chance in the sun, and they'll sort of find their own way to be produced. And I think the timing really isn't up to me. Like sometimes the timing is, out in the order. It's mythical. The time, like something's guiding me with my AFL videos. So yeah, look, my process is really, I get an idea and I try to get one sort of solid video out every Thursday. And yeah, there's no real process. I'm sort of like a painter. I paint when I paint. There's a lot of winging from this end, Prime.
I definitely get that. And I'm similar in the way that I produce my content sometimes. But how do you find that you split up what should be a YouTube video, what should be an Instagram, let's say, reel or Instagram post, and what should be a TikTok? Do you find that they're quite different?
Yeah, I find they're quite different. In my head, most ideas is YouTube. I love, like, so I used to catch a bus to and from school, and it used to be like a half an hour bus. And I love the thought on like a Thursday afternoon, there's like an 8 to 12 minute piece of content for some kid who's like depressed, like not actually depressed. I don't want anyone to be depressed, but like the week's been long. You've just had double maths. It's Thursday night, and you're like, oh, fucking hell,
I hate double math.
Oh, and then you got double English on the front, and you're just like, oh my God. So you just get your phone up, you get your headphones on, and I know that, potentially my content isn't that important, but I feel like there could be one kid out there that really gets a bit of a lift that, goal kicking challenge with Primes on my channel, or AFL parody song is up. So I really do it for, like, in my head, that person on the bus going home. And what was the question?
How do you find the difference between posting on YouTube, posting on Instagram, and posting on TikTok?
So yeah, that's why I lean towards YouTube, is because I love that 8 to 12 minute content, and that's mainly what pops into my head. But it's pretty evident if something pops into my head and it's not that, that's when I know it's for shorter form. And I've really embraced the shorter form in the last little while. Like, it's taken me a little while to get my head around how to make it. Like, I used to think, like, I'd make a TikTok and I'd film it like landscape on my Canon camera, go into my video editing and make it portrait, and it would just look so warped and so shit. But I sort of wrapped my head around that, like how to make it, and it's by literally like collaborating with you guys, like getting it on your phone, editing on your phone, and the product's still really good. So yeah, I in my head, it's very clear what sort of is a short form idea and what's a longer form idea.
I'm very lucky because I think that I started with TikTok and Instagram, and then I moved to YouTube. Do you reckon you found like you kind of a step back because you started with YouTube, then had to move into the shorter form stuff?
Yeah, I'm definitely a step back in terms of shorter form, like definitely.
But I'm a step back in long form. So, but do you reckon that there's a difference there? Do you reckon it's easier to go from short form to long form? is to go from long form to short form?
Probably not. I'd probably say it's like two different set of skills. I wouldn't sit here and say like, oh, it's easier to be a TikToker and become a YouTuber. I don't think that that's the case. And I think, I would say they're both as hard as each other. It's just a genuine different set of skills. Like I like to tell like stories. I like to have like, different moments. Like if I did like a 12-minute, and this what used to really hurt my head. Like I'd make like a 12-minute video and it might be like the greatest AFL comeback, and I'd let the other team kick 150 points and then I'd try and come back on AFL Evolution. And in my head, to make that a TikTok, I'd try and tell that story in a minute. Like, and this would be like an 18-minute video, and I'd try like show the story in a minute. And essentially I'd try and make my longer form videos down into, but now that I sort of realized that you can take out of context clips and just make that the TikTok, that is sort of what makes more sense to me. So instead of trying to make the 18-minute video into 1 minute, I now grab like one of the goals and one of the silly moments that's 20 seconds and making it. So it just took so long for me to work out like, oh, this is what sort of works better on shorter form. But I'm still learning, and every second or third TikTok I put out, I go, that looks garbage. But I'm slowly starting to wrap my head around it.
I do that sometimes with my own TikTok, to be honest with you. But it's every one of them, unfortunately. I take a look back and I think, what are you doing there, buddy?
The other thing, and this is just me like learning about myself, is like I've slowly but surely stopped putting stuff out about myself. I've sort of put a little bit of a wall between myself and my audience, just because one, like when I used to do, like I used to share everything. I'd be like, oh, here's my dad, here's my house, here's my cat, here's my room. But over the years, I've just felt like I don't, and this just, I don't really want everyone knowing my girlfriend. I don't really want everyone knowing my family. And I've slowly put like a little bit of a wall between that and my audience. So that sort of makes it hard what sort of content you can make, because I do love watching like day in the life TikTok vlogs. One of the best, I reckon, at it is Stubber from WA.
Yeah, he is. He's great, actually.
Whatever he's whatever. I love it.
Stubber goes bang.
Stubber goes bang.
We love him.
So he's someone who, like, I love consuming that content, but I don't want to make content like that. So it's just sort of put a bit of a limiter on what sort of content I could make, because like I like that other people share everything, but I've now come to the point where like I don't really want to. So I just got to be careful with what I do put out.
Why
have I put that gap?
Yeah,
it's a good question. To be honest, I just felt like, one, I'm not that interesting in terms of like I don't think everyone needs to know everyone's day, and I don't think everyone needs to know everything about everyone. I want to be known for like my product. Like I want to be known for the 12-minute videos, but I don't want the 12-minute videos to be known for me per se. Like I want my videos to be like watched as if anyone could have hosted them or anyone could have been in them. I sort of don't want to. I got like, so growing up, I wanted to be Harry Styles and I wanted to be this guy, and but now I've gotten to the point where I want my videos to be known more than I want to be known in them. And yeah, I've just tailored back a little bit of like the personal stuff that I used to put out there, because I don't necessarily want that to be the thing that carries the channel.
Is that a maturity thing?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, I think so. Literally, I would watch Harry Styles what's it like to meet Harry Styles compilations? I froth the kid, and I'd be like, oh, look at all the photos being taken of them. Look at all of this. Like I want that life. And then I'd go to the footy and 3 kids would come up and I'd be like, it's too much. It's too much for me. I think it is maturity. I think I've gotten to a place with my content where, and I see like the hunger in your eyes, and I see the hunger in the 9 to 5 boys. You guys are on the come up, and you've got this like energy on the come up, and it's sort of like divide and conquer, and like you'll do anything to make your your channels grow and whatnot. I feel like I've turned that leaf, and like I only really had YouTube when I had that sort of hunger and energy, but I feel like I've turned that leap where now I'm sort of in the sustainable mindset, and like what content can I make that I'll enjoy for the next 5, 6, 7 years, what videos can I make regularly that will keep the channel ticking for the next future? So I do think it is that maturity thing where, I've built what I've built, and now it's about making it sustainable and making it enjoyable for me for the next little while.
Do you think that affects the way that the audience gets to know you? And do you think that it might have a deterring kind of effect?
Yeah. Well,
no.
Yeah, this is great. This is sort of Stephen Bartlett, Die of a CEO.
I said that here before. I said I've been listening to Die of a CEO lately, and as well, everyone else. I'm on a juice cleanse at the moment, so I haven't actually eaten anything today. I'm only on juice, so like my usual extreme amount of energy there.
Yeah, when you were like, why? I'm like, oh, geez, I'm going again.
I feel like Die of a CEO today. Yeah,
that's an amazing question, and I'm glad we're sort of getting to this. So for the last 2 years, I did sort of consciously sit there and go, if I don't have this parasocial relationship with my audience, will they pack their bags and go home? Like if I aren't consistently writing in the comments, replying to them, if I don't do my live streams weekly where I get to touch base, if I don't sort of let them in on personal stuff, how people let their audience in on personal milestones and take them along for birthdays and stuff. But to be honest, it's really, it's genuinely deep down not me at the moment. And I really don't want to be so open. And I really do want my channel to be known for its product and less for me. So I've really found a sort of comfortable medium. I'm very content, and I'm in a really sort of content space with making content. And to be honest, if it does shave off a few, it's disappointing, but I've never been happier making content, and so it is what it is.
That's good. I'm glad that you enjoy making content, because sometimes as a content creator, you can go through these waves of I just can't be bothered.
Well, you're just juggling so much.
It can be so difficult.
I know. I don't want to, people listening to this in the rain on the way to their work site will be like, what are you talking about? So I do understand that it sounds a bit sort of whingy, but yeah, there is a lot to juggle, and there's a lot of sort of mental toll that it could take. So I feel like I'm in a space right now where I'm juggling it all. I'm putting out what I want to put out, and mentally I feel as good as I've felt in the last few years. So that's sort of the place that I've arrived at.
This is an absolutely brilliant chat, Cados, but we're going to have to stop it for a second, because Prime Train, it's me time. We've heard about you for a while, but now we've got to talk about
this. Is what
trade.
This is
what we're here
for.
Ladies and gentlemen, we at Prime Train, the Prime Train team, have released the greatest supplements in not only Australia, but the whole entire world. Cados, having a look at them right now. What do you reckon?
Well, I like the 33 servings.
Good amount.
That is a good amount. And
creatine has 50.
Really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Nah, this is unreal.
So at Prime Train, we have released 100% grass-fed whey protein isolate, which is the most bioavailable protein on the entire market. A lot of other proteins are mixed with concentrated proteins like pea proteins, all these different kind of proteins. We've just got whey protein isolate, which is the highest available protein on the market. We've also got creatine, which is unflavored, and then we've got orange flavored pre-workout. So some of the greatest supplements there. Not only are they fantastic for you, but they also taste amazing. We've also got programs. Make sure you check out the AFL in-season gym program. That's going ballistic at the moment. We just keep on getting people grabbing it. So thank you so much for supporting. And then we've also got merch as well. We've got a merch restock coming in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you keep an eye out for that on the socials, and use the code podcast to get 20% off any of those items. What do you reckon about that plug?
Mate, that plug was amazing. And I just want to say congratulations on everything that you're doing. What you've grown in the last sort of 12 months, 18 months is phenomenal. It's a force to be reckoned with, and you should be pumped. It's awesome.
Thanks, mate. I've got to say thanks to you. I came down here and probably wasn't, the biggest name in the world, and still am not. But yeah, came to you and we did some great content together. So I appreciate you giving the time of day to me. We did a footy golf
around the MCG.
Absolutely was shocking in the.
It was wet. It was a weird sort of balmy day.
And I don't remember, but I had conjunctivitis in one of my eyes. So I had to wear sunnies for the whole video, and I was so sick as well. And I was about 35 minutes late as well. It was genuinely an embarrassing day for me. But then we did a goal kicking challenge as well, which was fantastic.
And now that's gone down into like AFL YouTube folklore.
It's massive.
It is.
How many people do like reposts of that on TikTok and stuff?
Well, yeah, it was amazing. Like the amount of creativity people had off the back of us having a kick of footy was crazy. I really want to do part 2 soon.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll get a few new names as well. I was talking to the Sheps about a couple of names we could get in.
Any little
Well, I've never met
Easter eggs?
I've never met this person before, so it feels a little bit weird reaching out via podcast clip. But I've seen Liam Dowling.
Yeah, Dowling loves it.
And he commented on last year's video, "Hey boys, I'd smash in it" or something. So
He loves it, and he really rates himself as a.
I'd love to get the great man in.
Yeah.
If he'd be so kind to come in. So add a couple of names and go again.
Nice.
I need to just go and do a bit of craft though.
We're not gonna. If you haven't watched the video, please go and watch it. But if you have watched it, yeah, you do need to get some practice.
Yeah, I do.
We'll do a set shot kicking.
We'll do some boxing, then we'll do some set shots.
I absolutely love it. Cados, let's get back into talking a little bit about your audience. Can we talk about hate and trolls for a second? Have you ever experienced that sort of stuff much throughout your career?
Look, to be honest, I've had a pretty, I have a little bit. But it's more like a champing. Like I get more of a clip. I don't get like the trolls necessarily, but I do get like whenever I do a video that's on like the AFL's YouTube or whatnot, there's people that'll just be like, "What's this guy doing on the like? This guy sucks. You should give it to other people." And what racks my brain, because I give it more thought than I should, is like I try and sort of have the argument in my head, and I never reply, but I sort of have the argument in my head and try and counter their points, but their points are like ridiculous. Like it's like, why would, So like I'll be sitting there going like, "Oh, listen, Jono 273, I did radio school for 3 years and I've been doing this for 7 and there's not many other people in the space doing it, and I invented this idea and came to the AFL and worked with them to do it, and I've executed it." And like I try and like anti-justify their comment when really it should be like, that's a very weird comment. It doesn't really make sense and I should move on.
It can be one of the most difficult things dealing with hate, but
I love that you just clap back and champ them straight off the bat. And there's some times where you're just super close to doing it, but I never do, because I'm like,
really try not to, like especially in the comment section, I'll really try not to, unless I get something that comes in my head and it's like I instantly know it's going to be good, then I'll reply to it. But it will never be something that is putting the other person down.
Yeah,
because there's no point fighting fire with fire.
100%. Well, and my other sort of tactic is, if one of my mates said something like, "Oh, yeah, these are a bit shit" or whatnot, I'd sort of like agree and laugh. Like they were,
lost.
Yeah, they suck. So I often do that. Like they'll say something that is on the borderline of like, "Oh, that's a bit full on," and I'll sort of write back and be like, "Mate, spot on, we suck." And then they go, "Hey, mate, good, big fan." And I love, like, I don't like that their initial comment was, quite forward and, quite negative, but I like that it ends up in a positive. But to be honest, I've sort of slowly learned to sort of like let that stuff go, because it can be quite daunting if you're just starting out. It can be quite daunting.
I think it's an Australian thing that like our first comment is almost like putting ourselves higher in the hierarchy of like, I'm bigger or better than you in kind of some way, and it's like you're a flog or whatever. Like, I don't know why. Like I don't know if it happens in other places around the world. Like I'd have no idea, but I don't know. I don't really know.
And the worst part is the top like gets like a bit of fame and a bit of popularity. So it's sort of like this person's championing you with like a ridiculous comment, but in their head they're like, "I hope I get likes for this." So it's like you're putting out videos going, "Oh, I hope I get views and I hope it positively affects people." And they're saying that you putting yourself out there is wrong for likes and views, but they're putting their comment out there for likes and views to champ you. And then that's why it's like, it's sort of like bad that Instagram encourage like the ridiculous comments. I feel bad for the AFL. Any AFL post, it'll be like, Charlie Curnow was unbelievable on the weekend. Look at this. And they'll be like, Jeremy Cameron kicked 6 as well. Like, why don't you pull out? And
Me writing.
yeah, like, oh, me writing, Charlie. Oh, this sucks. It's like, oh my God. Like, no one can win.
And like being super famous, you just can't read. Like if you were like a Harry Styles, imagine reading all the bloody comments about yourself. It'd be ridiculous. Talk to me about the pressures that you've felt being kind of a content creator and also really a public figure.
Oh, good question. I feel like I felt the most pressure probably last year. So I'd worked really hard to get the radio gig. I'd finally built the YouTube. I'd done little bits with the AFL. I wanted to legitimize myself. I sort of hated that, if I ever call, I just wasn't legitimized from people that I really expected. Like I was posted on the Melbourne Football Club Instagram like 3 years ago. It would have been like 2018, 2019, but people were aware of me and I'd sort of collaborated with them on that day. And they made a post and they're like, look at the Melbourne fans on the weekend. And all the comments were like, that's Cados. Like, why'd your Melbourne fan shame him? And look, I know that I'm known as a Melbourne fan.
Number one fan of your football club. Like.
Yeah, it was just a little bit odd. But there's been like times like that forever where like a part of our podcast got put on SEN. And when they were talking, it was the Guinea episode and they were talking about him talking about his high tackles. And it was on SEN, morning, breakfast. And Kane Corns and Sam Edmund are like, what was that podcast from? I don't know who. Caden. No, I don't know where it was from. So like, I have worked really hard because I do want to legitimize myself, in this industry, and I felt like the Spotify gig that we landed last year was sort of the thing that would legitimize us.
The first step in the right direction.
But I also felt like a lot of pressure to not fuck it up. I was like, oh no. And, with my anxiety and with, my stress and my worries, I sort of go home and go, oh, what if we lose? Instead of going like, this is amazing, let's make the most of it, I'd drive home going, what if we lose the podcast one day? And I'd be like 3 episodes in worrying about what happens when we lose the potty. And I think that was just my negative mindset. And I felt like that just put a lot of like unnecessary pressure on myself. So I felt like last year, even though it probably appeared as if like I was potentially doing the best I'd ever done and I was collaborating with a lot of people and I was legitimizing myself in the industry, I was really stressing out that like I might lose it one day. And the end of the last year or the start of this year, Spotify had like a lot of issues with their stock and whatnot. I don't know if that's the reason why we didn't get renewed or whatnot. It's the reason Connor's going with. Oh, the stock went down. It wasn't our fault. I'm like, I don't know. Potentially, we might not have made the cut regardless. But now that has gone away, like I'm spewing that I missed the opportunity or didn't take it with both hands, even though I felt like I did the best I could. But I also look back and go, geez, I don't think I approached it with the right way. I was sort of living off the fear instead of living off like the enjoyment and the passion. But yeah, the other sort of pressure that I feel is like not to be perfect because I'm very fallible and I'm very much your average bloke. Like I have made the same mistakes that every bloke has made. I'm figuring out this world is quite difficult in your 20s as like a bloke from Australia. So like I've sort of but then on the other hand, like I do like to put the best version out of myself, and I did sort of wonder at times like how these kids would feel if they did see me having a few beers on the weekend or, hanging around with my mates and we're swearing and we're saying stupid stuff. So there has been a part of me that sort of sits there feeling a little bit guilty that like that potentially the perception doesn't match the person. So I sort of go to the footy worrying like, oh, does someone's like perception of me match like me? And I think it does. And I think at the end of the day, I'm pretty much the guy that is on camera. But that's something that I would worry about a lot. And I'm slowly starting, as I said, starting to come to terms with my content and who I am and growing up a little bit. I'm starting to come to terms with that.
Do you feel like you're a bit too paranoid?
Absolutely.
About how far and how much you've done?
Yeah.
Why do you still second guess yourself?
Well, I think it would be the generalized anxiety disorder when we get to the absolute crux of it. Look, to be honest, I'm very vigilant. I'm hyper aware. So I would feel like that. I do play scenarios in my head a lot, and mainly the negative ones win. But sometimes it holds you in good stead. Like sometimes on the way to like an interview or, you know, a podcast or something, I'll start playing the interview in my head before I get there, and it does help you out. So I'm not going to bash like the negative components of my personality, because I think it just makes me who I am. But I think, yeah, paranoia or just that stress and that worry is definitely something that I've been working towards sort of giving the flick. And I don't think I ever will, but it'd be nice.
It would be nice.
Sit back and just chill.
Everything's sweet, mate. It's good. It's good sometimes to have something that makes you kind of stop yourself and be like, not everything's perfect. So I get where you're coming from. What's next for Caden Mcdonald?
It's a good question. I'd love to collaborate more with like the AFL. I've been doing a little bit of stuff with them this year, but I'd like to do more stuff. I'd like to collaborate more with other people. Like I love doing stuff like this. You know, I literally sat in a room in Geelong just making videos in those four walls for a long, long time. And through COVID and whatnot, it became like a bit of a prison. Now, that's a bit of hyperbole, and it was, you know, pretty crazy just to chill at home during a pandemic. And I still got to work. But I did feel stuck in that room for a little while. So I love collaborating with people. I love that there's other people in the space now, whether they're making like actual footy content or whether they're making whatever. Like there's so many creators now to bounce ideas off. And, you know, when we're grilled with the Shep mates and the 9 to 5 boys and anyone else who rocks up, it's like the best thing ever. So what's next is like, I want to just be super consistent. I want to be really content with how I'm, you know, what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, which I have sort of come to that place. And I want to do this for the next few years. So I want to make it sustainable and keep doubling down on it.
How exciting is it for you to see so many other people starting to join the AFL content creation space? Like we said before, we went to the AFL 23 video game launch, and there's so many young creators, and, you know, you probably got to tip, you know, my hat to you, and everyone else probably tips a hat to you as well, because you probably started that.
Yeah, I don't really think about that too often. It's something that like Rog jokes about a lot. Connor will sort of say, you know, we're walking into the AFL 23 thing and he's going, you know, without your videos, mate, this wouldn't be happening.
Oh, maybe like,
yeah, potentially not. It's weird because I've never been like a leader, or like I've always been someone who would be the best at coming through second. Like I'm sort of like, I'll let someone make some mistakes, I'll sort of watch how they do it, and then I'll come in. So to sort of be the guy at the forefront is, you know, daunting and whatnot, but it's been the best thing that I've ever done. A little analogy I used to have for a while was it used to feel like I was sort of like in this bushland carving this path, and I'd be sort of carving this path and now I'm sort of looking back and other people are sort of trekking up the path. But then I look to the right and it's the Prime, and he's got a bloody chainsaw and I'm using a butter knife. He's got some elite machinery, and I'm sort of looking over going, can I borrow that when you're done with it? Bloody hell. Jeez, you're pinging up the path. So it's look, that's something that does consume me with a little bit of pressure and a little bit of anxiety. It's like I want to have a crack at this Spotify gig and make the most of it. So hopefully, you know, the Cardman 22 or Ryder Henchy in a few years can potentially have that door opened a little bit easier. I've always had the thought for a while that I don't think I'll be the best person in this space. I feel like in 10 years, someone will come through that does it, you know, their editing's better, their comedic timing's better, their podcasting's better. So I'm just glad that I've potentially, if we do think quite deeply about it, given someone else an opportunity to take it with both hands. But I want to do it as long as I can. And we rock up to shoot. It's the middle of a Tuesday and I go, this is our job. Like, what the hell? It's bizarre. So, I can't wait for the future.
It's very exciting, mate. It is very, very exciting. Now, I've got a few Q&As for you.
Oh, boy.
My first one is, How much money do you make as a YouTuber?
Who said that?
I don't know, someone.
Well, what's quite funny is on a TikTok a little while ago, I posted a video and a little kid said, "Oh, this is awesome, Cados. I want to be like you when I'm older." And the next comment was a kid going, "AFL YouTubers make no money. Like you're a loser." Like, and he champed the little kid. I was like, "What the hell?" I think we've grown up with your KSIs who sort of flex the Lamborghini. Jake Paul who flexes the mansion. And I think all these little kids think that means like that, like
That's
you haven't made it unless you have a mansion or a Lamborghini or whatnot. I've been able to live off like YouTube and AdSense and I did live at home, so I did have a roof over my head. But for like the last 3 or 4 years, I make like a sort of medium to whatever wage, and you know it's enough to sort of tick me over. So I think that's successful. Like when I think about like, you know, I get to do this for a living, it's only at the beginning of the wave. You feel like there's a real swell of content creators and YouTubers coming through. It feels like it's just at the beginning of what brands are tapping into and whatnot. And I'm sort of still making a sort of good to average wage. I've been living off it for the last 3 or 4 years and living out of home. So I count that as like a success and I'm really content with it. So I'd say I make enough.
Great way to avoid my question. Very good answer, Caden. Very good answer. Who are you most excited or who would you love to collaborate with that you've never collaborated with before?
Well, I guess like to be able to be that Australian to collaborate with like a Logan Paul or KSI would be amazing. In terms of footy, I'd love like a Gary Ablett Jr. or something.
Awesome.
That would be unbelievable. I know I got to chat to him the other night, but to do something sort of significant with a Christian Petrarca would probably be that's what I'd retire. I'd be like, thanks guys. Thanks.
Done.
I'm done. The track just got beaten in a goal kicking challenge and I'm out of here. Oh.
Imagine if you beat track in a goal kicking challenge.
That would be bon voyage. I'd be off. I'd be out of here.
It'd be my mansion and my Lamborghini maybe right there, I reckon. Mate, that's unbelievable. Final Q&A from the people. Girlfriend, dating?
Yeah, I got a girlfriend. Dating for 4 years. Just the nicest person you'll ever meet. Very down to earth.
She's a big fan of the show as well, I know.
Big fan of the show.
Yeah, I know she listens every week.
And well, she's into her fitness, and I might need to take.
Maybe I'll send you both some.
That would be amazing.
Ups.
It's something we can bond over. Just burpees and some prime subs. She's been amazing, and it's I don't know, like as it because I know that you've got a young manly audience. It's quite a distraction, like going through your 20s and not having that person, that sort of rock. And I would go through bouts of like loneliness in my early 20s and like I don't feel like I'm good enough and whatnot for a partner. So to sort of, you know, I worked on myself like a fair bit. I started to love myself for a little while and that's when it sort of ticked over for me. And yeah, to be honest, having someone there for the last 4 years to sort of audit your behavior, but support you, but yeah, just be there for you is the best thing ever. So yeah, if you haven't got a missus, get one.
That's very beautiful, my friend. Before we go on to our final question, which I ask every single one of my guests,
boy,
I'd love to firstly chat about Whoop. Do you know about Whoop?
I've heard about Whoop since your posts.
Mate, it is literally the greatest thing ever. I think I'm sitting at 62% recovery 62% recovery today. So not fantastically recovered. That's because I got up early this morning, went and did some boxing. Everything, all of that is all tracked. And I know that from my Whoop, I only got 6.5 hours of sleep. I should be getting my 8. But that's good because my Whoop's going to tell me exactly what time I need to go to bed tonight, what time I need to be in bed, how long I need to be in bed for, when I should be waking up so I can just hit the ground running for tomorrow. Whoop is absolutely fantastic. Please go and check it out in the podcast description or in the YouTube description as well. They are the greatest things. I've got my black band on at the moment. I've also got a blue band and a white band. But yeah, these things are absolutely amazing. You can track pretty much all of your daily strain, your recovery, just absolutely everything. So definitely would recommend getting one if you don't have one already. And please check out Manscaped as well. Are you a Manscaped fan?
I like to keep it short back and sides, as usual.
Talk about the face.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Manscaped's elite. Make sure you use the code PRIME at 20 to get anything off the Manscaped. I use Manscaped, obviously, pretty much everywhere. I love to shave the legs before a game of footy. I love to shave pretty much everything else before a game of footy. I love to shave the hair before a game of footy as well. Manscaped is the ticket. It's absolutely fantastic. Check out the Lawnmower 4.0. You can get the whole pack as well. You've got all these things. You've got ball deodorant, which is just like,
That's revolutionary.
I didn't even know that existed, mate, till I got it. And I was like, mate, this Manscaped stuff's absolutely elite. So make sure you guys go check out that. Use the code PRIME20 to get 20% discount and free shipping, baby. God, I always look after you guys. I'm so good.
You're so good.
I'm such a good guy.
For us.
Oh, they're the goats. Whoop and Manscaped. Final question.
Yes.
This is what I ask all of my guests.
Oh boy.
Can you please give me, and for all the listeners out there that really, that they need to know this, we need 3 successful habits that you've employed throughout your entire life that's helped you get to where you are today.
I listened to, what's that book on habits?
Atomic Habits.
I listened to 56% of Atomic Habits,
Well done.
my audio, and I got nothing out of it. And
I really want to listen to that.
I'm a bad habits man. I can give you 3 bad habits. I've been nailing the chalky mini eggs recently, like absolutely sucking them down.
Whatever Cados says, do the opposite of this. Okay, go.
I always push my sleep further than I should. So when I was like 8 or 9, we had a contest who could stay up latest at the sleepover, and I won. Like everyone was asleep, and I was like, "You guys suck." And I feel like I've just continued that into my 20s. Like it'll be like 12:30, and I'll be like, "I'll stay up an extra hour." So another habit of mine is like staying up till 1 or 2 every night. What's the third habit? Jeez, I buy my lunches every day. And that's a bad habit. That's a money habit, and that's a food habit that I need to give the flick. That's 3 shocking habits I've got at the moment.
Well, that's very interesting. I've never had someone come on the podcast and give me their 3 worst habits, but I'll take them. So hopefully next time.
I'll give you 3 better habits.
Give me 3 good ones.
I have been getting into journaling.
Nice.
Like I genuinely think it's like a bit of a game changer. I can't really read or write, so to sort of whack down your thoughts every day has been handy. This is a bit cliche, but I've really been working hard to read every night. Once again, it's like the words are sort of playing a bit of 3-man weave on my page. Like I literally cannot see what they're doing. But if you focus hard enough, you can sort of get through a page and a half. So I have been reading a little bit, and I don't mind a bit of meditation. Obviously, we spoke about a little bit of my anxiety. If I'm pretty consistent with like meditation, it helps with sleep. If I'm better with sleep, it helps with like my anxiety. So I don't think that's anything to be shameful of. I think meditation is key.
I agree, and I think that we sometimes don't do meditation. We definitely should. Its benefits are incredible, I believe. So
Yeah,
definitely give that a go. Where can people find you, Cados, if they're looking for you?
Come to YouTube, just Caden Mcdonald on YouTube, and then it's Cados38 on most socials. I want to change that, but I'm sort of
We're not sure why, but that's okay. We'll roll with it.
because when I signed up for Instagram in 2012, Jeremy House was Howie38. So I made my Cados38. He was my favourite player before he left to the Pies. Rest well, Jeremy. That was a shocking.
Hopefully he gets back soon.
So yeah, Cados38 on all platforms.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the potty. I've really enjoyed this chat. If you're a aspiring content creator out there, you should definitely listen to this. And if you haven't already, please hit that notification bell, give us 5 stars, and then give this a like if you're watching on YouTube. Love you guys. Thank you so much.